Hello everyone, this is CA Samiksha Sethia, and in today's video, as you can see, we are going to discuss the RTP for November 2020 examinations for your CA Intermediate Auditing and Assurance paper number 6. So this video is very important for all those students who are going to appear for the examinations on or after November 20. तो अगर आप November 20 में एग्जाम दे रहे हैं तो डेफिनेटली आपके लिए ये वीडियो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है, और अगर आप बाद के भी किसी टर्म में एग्जामिनेशन दे रहे हैं May 21, November 21, तो भी आपके लिए ये वीडियो जो है इंपॉर्टेंट हो जाती है, राइट? ओके, सो लेट अस स्टार्ट विद द डिस्कशन. इस वीडियो में आपका मैं आरटीपी डिस्कशन पूरा करा दूंगी. एक एक क्वेश्चन को डिटेल में डिस्कशन नहीं करेंगे, ओवरव्यू डिस्कस कर लेंगे. एंड मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंटली जो जहां पे स्टूडेंट्स प्रॉब्लम फेस करते हैं वो ये एरिया होती है कि मैम क्वेश्चन पढ़ के हम समझ नहीं पाते हैं कि व्हाट विल बी द आंसर. सो मैं आपको हेल्प करूंगी इन अंडरस्टैंडिंग एंड आइडेंटिफाइंग द कीवर्ड्स एंड हाउ from that keyword we can understand what the institute is actually asking us, right? So let us start. Before the questions, there's a short amendment in section number 53. Section 53 is regarding audit your shares issued at discount. सेक्शन 53 का अगर कॉन्ट्रावेंशन किसी कंपनी ने किया तो उसके ऊपर पेनल्टी चार्ज होती है, ठीक है. पेनल्टी का अमाउंट पहले जो था वो 1 लाख से 5 लाख तक था, विच इज नाउ बीन अमेंडेड. इट हैज बीन लिंक्ड टू द अमाउंट दैट यू रेज बाय वे ऑफ इशूइंग द शेयर्स एट डिस्काउंट. सो द अमाउंट ऑफ पेनल्टी विल बी टू एन अमाउंट इक्वल टू द अमाउंट रेज्ड थ्रू द इशू ऑफ शेयर्स एट अ डिस्काउंट और 5 लाख रुपीज विच एवर इज लेस. And the company shall also be liable to refund the amount along with 12% interest per annum. So whatever amount has been raised by way of issuing shares at a discount, उसको refund करना पड़ेगा. और interest कब से charge होगा? From the date the shares were being issued at discount till the date you make the refund, 12% per annum interest charge किया जाएगा. So that is an amendment in the penalty amount of section number 53. Now let us start with the question answer discussion. So first part is your section A, that is part 1, your multiple choice questions. First two questions are case study oriented questions. तो अपने start करते हैं. Messrs. JJ and Associates having office in Chennai are statutory auditors under Companies Act 2013 of a company that is Sweet Aroma Private Limited. The company is engaged in business of obtaining and manufacturing rice from paddy, catering to both domestic as well as international market, mainly in the Gulf nations. So company का काम क्या है? Paddy लेके वो उससे rice extract करती है. It is operating both in the international and domestic market. Okay. The company has a huge plant capacity for rice extraction in one of the states in northern India. Needless to say that inventories are in huge quantity in such type of business consisting of raw material, work in progress and finished goods. So whenever we read the case study type questions, we have to be smart enough to understand कहाँ पे इंस्टीट्यूट आपको एक बैकग्राउंड दे रही है, एक स्टोरी लाइन क्रिएट करी है, कहाँ से आपके काम की बात चालू होती है. तो अभी हमें पढ़ के समझ आ गया यहाँ से हमारी काम की बात चालू हो रही है कि इन्वेंट्रीज आर इन ह्यूज क्वांटिटीज. The auditors wanted to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence regarding the inventories. So the question is saying that the auditors want to obtain SAAE about the inventories. In above context, we have to answer the following questions. Let us read the first question. तो ये हमारा case study हो गया. आप question पढ़ते हैं. Which of the following is most likely correct in relation to obtaining sufficient appropriate audit evidence regarding existence and condition of inventory? Regarding the existence and condition of inventory. ये पढ़ते ही मैम हमें याद आ गया SA 501, that is audit evidence, special considerations for selected items, in which we deal with how to obtain audit evidence relating to existence and condition of inventory specifically. So ये entire case study के जो questions है they are based upon SA 501, right? तो पूछा क्या गया है कि which is most likely correct in relation to SAAE about the existence and condition of inventory. First option is it is mandatory for the auditor to attend physical inventory counting on the date of FS in all circumstances. चाहे आंधी आए चाहे तूफान आए, ऑडिटर को फिजिकल इन्वेंट्री काउंट अटेंड करना ही पड़ेगा. बहुत ज़्यादा ज़रूरी, मैंडेटरी है ये. क्या ऐसे 501 हमसे ये कहा था? ऐसे 501 ने हमसे कहा था कि मैम unless impracticable the auditor shall attend the physical inventory count, वो भी either at the balance sheet date or any other date selected by the auditor, है ना. So physical inventory count, ये वाला ऑप्शन तो बिल्कुल गलत हो गया. नेक्स्ट ऑप्शन पढ़ते हैं. physical inventory counting may be attended by the auditor on the date of FS or at a date other than the date of FS in his discretion, but it is mandatory in all circumstances. यहाँ पे ये कहा गया कि the auditor may attend it at a date of FS or other date, but attend करना जरूरी ही है in all circumstances. नहीं मैम, ये भी ऑप्शन गलत हो गया. बी को भी हम नहीं चूज करेंगे. सी पढ़ते हैं. The attendance of auditors at the PIC physical inventory counting is impracticable due to time and costs involved because of auditor's office location vis-a-vis company का plant location. तो auditor is saying हमारी ऑफिस से कंपनी का प्लांट बहुत दूर है, हम जाके फिजिकल इन्वेंट्री काउंट अटेंड नहीं कर सकते हैं. सो दिस इज ऑल्सो नॉट राइट, because the factors of time and cost are not sufficient and valid basis for the auditor not to attend the physical inventory count. ऐसा नहीं, unless impracticable कहा गया, बट आप टाइम एंड कॉस्ट को लेके नहीं कह सकते कि हम फिजिकल इन्वेंट्री काउंट नहीं अटेंड करेंगे, राइट. सो ऑप्शन सी इज ऑल्सो नॉट करेक्ट. ऑप्शन डी ही बचा, अब यही करेक्ट है. फिर भी इसको पढ़ते हैं. द ऑडिटर शैल अटेंड द फिजिकल इन्वेंट्री काउंटिंग अनलेस impracticable. However, issue of time and cost involved because of auditor's office location vis-a-vis the company का plant location is not a valid basis for skipping the physical inventory counting. Right? So option D is the correct answer. D जो है वो correct answer है यहाँ पे. Next question पढ़ते हैं. Below are given certain cluster of matters which are relevant in planning attendance of auditor at the physical inventory counting. Which of the following clusters consist of a likely inappropriate combination? So let us read the options. Nature of inventory, timing of PIC and stages of completion of work in progress. तो ये पढ़ के आपको समझ आ गया होगा, हमने ऐसे 501 में ये भी पढ़ा था. There are certain factors that the auditor need to consider while planning the attendance at the physical inventory count. The factors relating to inventory. So उसके अंदर ऑप्शन A जो है वो हमने पढ़ा था, nature of inventory, timing of PIC and stages of completion of WIP auditor has to consider. ऑप्शन B क्या कहते हैं? Nature of inventory, timing of PIC एंड वैल्यूएशन मेथड ऑफ इन्वेंट्री. क्या वहां पे वैल्यूएशन मेथड ऑडिटर को कंसिडर करना है? नहीं मैम, ऑडिटर ओनली हैज टू एस्टैब्लिश द एग्जिस्टेंस एंड कंडीशन. ऐसे 501 में जो इन्वेंट्री की कंसिडरेशन है टॉक्स ऑफ टू स्पेसिफिक पॉइंट्स, एग्जिस्टेंस एंड कंडीशन, नॉट वैल्यूएशन. सो ऑप्शन बी में जो कॉम्बिनेशन है, हमें क्या फाइंड करना था? हमें क्वेश्चन ने पूछा इनअप्रोप्रिएट कॉम्बिनेशन बताइए कौन सी है. इनअप्रोप्रिएट कॉम्बिनेशन बतानी है. तो एक तो बी हमें लग रहा है कि इनअप्रोप्रिएट हो सकता है बिकॉज वैल्यूएशन मेथड हमने वहां नहीं पढ़ा था. Nature of inventory, timing of PIC, considerations regarding the maintenance of perpetual inventory system. Option C is also correct. Auditor also has to consider perpetual inventory system maintenance. Option number D, risk of material misstatements related to inventory, nature of IC pertaining to inventory, considerations regarding maintenance of perpetual inventory system. D भी correct है. Auditor को RMM भी consider करना होगा. Internal controls with respect to inventory also the auditor has to consider. So here option number B is the incorrect combination, inappropriate combination, because यहाँ पे valuation method जो है that is not to be considered by the auditor. नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन देखते हैं. विच ऑफ द फॉलोइंग इज द मोस्ट लाइकली लॉजिकल सीक्वेंस ऑफ स्टेप्स इन रिलेशन टू the attendance at physical inventory counting by the auditor. So the most logical sequence, if you remember हमने पढ़ा था ऐसे 501 में that the auditor first evaluates the management का process, how the management is instructing the employees for controlling the results of the physical inventory counting. उसके बाद में हम observe करते हैं, observance of the physical inventory count being performed by the management's personnel. Then we inspect the inventory and finally we perform the test counts. So question उसी से related है. पहला स्टेप पहला ऑप्शन में दिया, पहले हम ऑब्जर्व करेंगे, उसके बाद हम इंस्पेक्ट करेंगे, फिर हम टेस्ट काउंट्स परफॉर्म करेंगे, फिर हम मैनेजमेंट के प्रोसीजर्स को इवैल्यूएट करेंगे, विच इज अ रॉन्ग सीक्वेंस. हमें क्या आइडेंटिफाई करना है? द मोस्ट लाइकली सीक्वेंस, द करेक्ट वन, राइट. सो यू हैव टू रीड द एमसीक्यू का क्वेश्चन ऑल्सो करेक्टली. कहीं पे आपको बोलेगा इनअप्रोप्रिएट कॉम्बिनेशन हाईलाइट करो, कहीं पे आपको बताएगा मोस्ट लाइकली सीक्वेंस को बताओ. तो यू हैव टू रीड व्हाट द क्वेश्चन इज आस्किंग. ऑप्शन नंबर बी देखो, फर्स्ट वी विल ऑब्जर्व द परफॉर्मेंस ऑफ मैनेजमेंट काउंट प्रोसीजर्स, उसके बाद टेस्ट काउंट परफॉर्म करेंगे, फिर इंस्पेक्शन करेंगे, फिर इवैल्यूएशन ऑफ मैनेजमेंट प्रोसीजर. नो, इनकरेक्ट. ऑप्शन नंबर सी, ये तो कहता है पहले ही टेस्ट काउंट कर लो, फिर इन्वेंट्री का इंस्पेक्शन करो, फिर जाके मैनेजमेंट के प्रोसीजर को इवैल्यूएट करो, ऑब्जर्वेंस करो, विच इज ऑल्सो रॉन्ग. So option number D is the correct answer. Evaluation of management's procedure for recording and controlling results of the PIC, observance, and then the inspection and performing the test counts. So option number D is the correct answer. Right. Next question देखो. During attendance at the PIC, the auditor inspects inventory. Following outcomes stated as 1, 2 and 3 are given below of this inspection procedure. Outcome 1 is existence, outcome 2 is ownership, and outcome 3 is the condition of inventory. Which of the following statements is most likely true? तो यहाँ पे हम ऐसे 501 के अंदर पढ़ते हैं कि existence and condition of the inventory is established. But when the inspection is done, the auditor is actually establishing the existence of the inventory and the condition of inventory, but not necessarily the ownership. Existence हमने देख लिया कि yes, the inventory exists as at the balance sheet date. But inspect करने से जरूरी नहीं है कि आपको ownership का भी पता चल जाएगा whether the company is right over that or not. But ऐसा नहीं है कि नहीं भी पता चलेगा. It may be established, may not be established. ठीक है? So let us read option number A. Outcomes 1, 2 and 3 are all necessarily established after inspection. No, option 2 जो है, outcome 2 जो है regarding ownership, it may be established, may not be established. Next option is only outcomes 1 and 3 are established after inspection. Outcome 2 never established. ऐसा भी नहीं है. Outcome 2 तो मैंने क्या कहा? It may be established, may or may not be. Outcomes 1 and 3 are established after inspection. However, outcome 2 may not necessarily be established. So this is most likely the correct answer. Option D देखते हैं. Option D कहता है outcome 2 and 3 are established. Outcome 1 may not necessarily be established, but outcome 1 and 3 तो हमेशा ही होंगे. 2 may or may not be established. So C is the correct answer. Last question relating to this case study, let us see. It was observed by the auditors that out of the total rice physically counted on 31st March 2020, about 67 quintals of rice belonged to Messrs PQR, a proprietary concern which had sent paddy to this company's plant for extraction of rice. What would be the treatment of this item in the financial statements of the company? तो किसी और की इन्वेंट्री है ये, मेसर्स PQR की इन्वेंट्री आपके यहाँ पे पड़ी है, फिजिकल इन्वेंट्री काउंटिंग में आपने उसको काउंट किया था, बट डू वी इंक्लूड दैट इन द फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स? नो मैम, वी डू नॉट इंक्लूड दैट इन द फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स बिकॉज द कंपनी इज नॉट हैविंग राइट ओवर दीज इन्वेंट्रीज बिकॉज दे आर बिलोंगिंग टू मेसर्स PQR. So options read करते हैं. The value of 67 quintals rice would be reflected in the company's FS as per method of valuation adopted by the company. No ma'am, it is not to be included at all. The valuation of 67 quintals rice would be reflected in the company का FS as per valuation method adopted by the proprietary concern. एकदम भी नहीं. Option C क्या है? The value of 67 quintals would not be reflected in the company का FS. ये हो सकता है सही हो, फिर भी हम एक बार ऑप्शन डी भी पढ़ेंगे क्योंकि एमसीक्यूज में क्या होता है, आपको लग रहा है सी करेक्ट है, अब हो सकता है डी में उससे ज्यादा और भी ज्यादा क्लोज हो टू द करेक्ट आंसर. सो वी हैव टू रीड ऑल द ऑप्शंस इररिस्पेक्टिव ऑफ कि आपको ए ही सही लग रहा है तो भी आप बी सी डी तीनों ऑप्शंस को फिर से रीड करेंगे. ऑप्शन डी क्या कह रहे हैं? द वैल्यू ऑफ 67 क्विंटल्स राइस वुड बी रिफ्लेक्टेड इन द प्रोप्राइटरी कंसर्न्स एफएस एज पर वैल्यूएशन मेथड अडॉप्टेड बाय द कंपनी का एफएस बाय द कंपनी. नो, प्रोप्राइटरी कंसर्न अपने वैल्यूएशन मेथड के हिसाब से अपनी इन्वेंट्री को इंक्लूड करेंगे. सो ऑप्शन सी इज द करेक्ट आंसर. राइट, ओके. नेक्स्ट केस स्टडी देखते हैं. A partnership firm of chartered accountants, Wised and Associates, were appointed as auditor of company UV Private Limited. The financial year for which Wised and Associates were to audit the books of accounts of UV Private Limited began on 1st April 2018 and ended on 31st March 2019. Now, Wised and Associates consist of 4 partners, namely Mr. Y, Z, G and H. Mr. Y, Mr. Z, Mr. G and Mr. H. While auditing books of accounts of UV Private Limited for the period beginning 1st April 2018 and ending 31st March 2019, one of the partners of Wised and Associates, namely Mr. H, took up the expenses part of audit. तो Mr. H क्या कर रहे हैं? Expenses की audit कर रहे हैं. The management of UV Private Limited had adopted various accounting policies and principles related to expenses which Mr. H as the auditor of UV Private Limited was unable to understand. तो expenses से related कुछ accounting principles policy H के समझ में नहीं आई. Some of the issues which Mr. H was unable to understand are mentioned as follows. Let us see whether we are able to understand these issues or not. Point number 1 is power and fuel expenses paid for the month of April 2019 and May 2019. हमारा ऑडिट पीरियड कब खत्म हो रहा है मैम? हमारा ऑडिट पीरियड खत्म हो रहा है मार्च 2019 में. अप्रैल 2018 से मार्च 2019. So power and fuel expenses paid for the month of April 2019 and May 2019 have been included and shown as power and fuel expenses for the period beginning 1st April 2018 and एंडिंग ऑन 31st मार्च 2019. ये तो आपके अकाउंटिंग कॉन्सेप्ट में, मैचिंग कॉन्सेप्ट में नहीं आ रहा है, पीरियोडिसिटी कॉन्सेप्ट में नहीं आ रहा है. पीरियड जो एक्सपेंसेस उस पीरियड को बिलोंग करती है उसी को रिकॉर्ड करना चाहिए. ये तो क्या हो गया, ये प्री पेड एक्सपेंसेस हो गया. एम आई राइट और नॉट? यस मैम. नेक्स्ट पॉइंट देखते हैं. पर्सनल रेंट एक्सपेंसेस of the son of one of the director Mr. T of UV Private Limited has been shown as rent expense of the business. So personal expenses have been charged to the revenue account of the company. Again, it is an incorrect accounting policy. Point number 3 देखो, repair and maintenance expense for the months of February 2019 and March 2019 were still outstanding and were not shown in the balance sheet. तो outstanding expenses को हम as liability show करते हैं in the balance sheet. Again, it is a wrong principle being followed. Point number 4, repair and maintenance expenses for the financial year 1st April 2018 to March 2019 were very high as compared to financial year April 2017 to 2018. तो पिछले साल से इस बार का जो रिपेयर मेंटेनेंस का खर्चा बहुत ज़्यादा है. The auditor Mr. H asked the appropriate authority about the reasons for such huge differences in amounts of the two financial year. तो auditor ने क्या किया, inquiry किया with the appropriate authority. Point number 5, while verifying the insurance expenses, the insurance policies were not shown to the auditor Mr. H. Insurance policy ही नहीं दिखाया गया auditor H को. Now the above mentioned 5 points were some of the issues which Mr. H was unable to understand. Let us now solve Mr. H का problems. As per point number 1 mentioned in the above case, the power and fuel expenses paid for April 2019 and May 2019, that is the next year, must be shown under asset side of the balance sheet of UV Private Limited as on 31st March 2019 as किस तरह से असेट साइड में शो करेंगे. आउटस्टैंडिंग पावर एंड फ्यूल, मैम ये तो लायबिलिटी एसेट ही नहीं है. प्रीपेड पावर एंड फ्यूल एक्सपेंसेस या फिर ओनली पावर एंड फ्यूल एक्सपेंसेस और पावर एंड फ्यूल एक्सपेंसेस पेबल. दिस इज नॉट पेबल, दिस हैज बीन प्रीपेड. सो ऑप्शन बी इज द करेक्ट आंसर. बी इज द करेक्ट आंसर. नेक्स्ट देखो, एज पर पॉइंट नंबर 2 जो कि था कि पर्सनल एक्सपेंस हैज बीन पेड. The personal rent expense of the son of one of the director Mr. T were added to rent expenses of business of UV Private Limited. The amount of personal rent expense of the son of the director must be subtracted from the rent expense of the business, remain added to the rent expense of the business, again added to the rent expense या फिर subtracted twice from the rent expense. So we will subtract it just once. एक बार add हुआ तो एक बार subtract कर देंगे for the correct treatment. So option A is the correct answer. This question is very easy, mostly relating to your accounts only. Next question देखो, as per point number 3 mentioned above, in the case the repair maintenance expenses that is outstanding for the month of February and March must be shown under the liability side as what? Is it to be shown as prepaid repair and maintenance? No ma'am, it is outstanding. Is it to be shown as repair and maintenance expenses? No ma'am. Paid in advance? No ma'am. Repair and maintenance expense payable. So it is a liability that is outstanding repair and maintenance expense or repair and maintenance expense that is payable. Right. Next देखो, as per point number 4 mentioned in the case above, the auditor Mr. H asked the appropriate authority for reasons of huge difference in the amount of the two financial years of repair and maintenance expense. By appropriate authority, Mr. H was referring to whom? All the employees of UV Private Limited, the management of UV Private Limited, members यानी कि shareholders से जाके पूछेंगे या any one director of UV Private Limited. Of course, we will make inquiry to the management. सारे employees से पूछ के क्या करेंगे या फिर director से पूछ के क्या करेंगे? We will ask the management of the UV Private Limited. Next question, as per point number 5 mentioned above, in verifying insurance expenses, the insurance policies would provide auditor Mr. H as अगर insurance policy दिखाया गया होता तो it would have been a valid supporting for the insurance expense. आपको एक documentary evidence मिल जाता regarding the recording of the insurance expense. So option D is the correct answer. So these were the MCQs that were case study oriented. So case study oriented I think आपको समझ आ गया होगा किस तरह से हमें रीड करके आंसर करना है. नेक्स्ट जो केस स्टडी ओरिएंटेड क्वेश्चंस नहीं है, नॉर्मल एमसीक्यूज है, उसको देखते हैं. First question is, Messrs KYC and Company is a reputed audit firm in Mumbai. They are appointed as statutory auditors of Blessed Limited. Which of the below is the responsibility of Messrs KYC and Company? तो ऑडिटर की क्या रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है? प्रिपेयर कर दो फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स. ब्लेस्ड लिमिटेड को ब्लेस कर दो बाय प्रिपेयरिंग देयर फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स. नो, इट इज द रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी ऑफ द मैनेजमेंट, नॉट द ऑडिटर. Designing, implementation and maintenance of the IC system, is it the responsibility of auditor or the management? Ma'am, the management, not the auditor. Reporting on the truthness and fairness of the financial statements is the responsibility of the auditor. Compliance with applicable laws and regulations is again the responsibility of the management, not the auditor. So option C is the correct answer. क्या आप मुझे बता सकते हो ये कौन से स्टैंडर्ड कहाँ पे हमने इसको पढ़ा है? ऐसे 210 में जनरली हम प्री कंडीशंस टू ऑडिट पढ़ते हैं, जहाँ पे मैनेजमेंट की रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज को भी हम पढ़ते हैं. उधर आपको ये देखने को मिलेगा. और जनरली भी हमें पता है कि रिपोर्टिंग ऑन द ट्रूथनेस एंड फेयरनेस ऑफ द एफएस इज द रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी ऑफ द ऑडिटर. नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन, मिस्टर ए ऑडिटर एंड मिस्टर बी फाइनेंस मैनेजर ऑफ XYZ प्राइवेट लिमिटेड आर फ्रेंड्स. ठीक है, दोस्ती है दोनों में, फाइनेंस मैनेजर में और ऑडिटर में. मिस्टर ए प्रिपेयर्स द ऑडिट रिपोर्ट अकॉर्डिंग टू द विशेस एंड डायरेक्शंस ऑफ मिस्टर बी. तो जो फ्रेंड है वो इनको गाइड करते हैं, इस तरह से तू ऑडिट रिपोर्ट बना दे, और वो उस तरह से बना देते हैं. इन दिस सिचुएशन विच एसेंशियल क्वालिटी ऑफ द ऑडिटर हैज बीन कॉम्प्रोमाइज्ड? So we know that independence of the auditor means that the auditor is not supposed to act or function according to the wishes or commands of the appointing authority. So if the auditor is acting according to the wishes and directions of Mr. B or the appointing authority or the management, in that case the independence of auditor has been compromised. Independence उन्होंने अपना जो है compromise कर दिया because they are giving a biased opinion based on the wishes and directions of the manager. Next question, Mr. Salman is an engagement partner of Khan and Company Chartered Accountants for an audit of Lava Limited. He died of a stroke on the 30th of September 2019 after completing the entire routine audit work of Lava Limited. Now Shoaib is also one of the partners of Khan and Company. That person, Mr. Shoaib, will be signing the accounts of Lava Limited. What is the course of action to be taken by Mr. Shoaib? Should Mr. Shoaib sign the accounts of Lava Limited without reviewing the work of the partner, or sign the balance sheet after reviewing the work of the partner, or withdraw from the audit as the person who performed is no more, या फिर issue an adverse report? Ma'am, he should sign the balance sheet after reviewing the work of his partner. So after reviewing the work of the partner, the audit report must be signed. Next question देखो, auditor compares gross profit ratio with that of the previous year and it is discovered that there has been a fall in the ratio. This is an example of, so any kind of comparison is an example of, ma'am, analytical procedure. Analytical procedure itself means evaluation of relationships between different variables and also includes comparison of figures of the prior period with the current year or maybe forecast करना. ठीक है, ये सब analytical procedure में आ जाते हैं. Next question, while conducting the audit of Saraswati Limited, a packaged water making company, it was found that a purchase of motor car was made in the name of the company. Your article assistant has performed the following audit procedures. Identify which of the following procedure is incorrect. तो हमें incorrect procedure को find out करना है. So आर्टिकल ने क्या क्या प्रोसीजर परफॉर्म किए? द आर्टिकल ascertained whether the purchase of car has been properly authenticated. शाबाशी देंगे ऑडिटर को, क्योंकि आर्टिकल को, क्योंकि ये चेक करना चाहिए था whether the purchase is authenticated or not. Right? Next, check invoice of the car dealer to confirm the purchase price. Yes, of course we will check the invoice to confirm the purchase price. Examine registration with the transport authorities to verify the ownership. Very good Mr. Article, आपने बहुत अच्छा काम किया कि आपने registration को check कर लिया to verify the ownership of the asset. And lastly, ensure that the motor car has been included in the closing inventory of goods. नो, मोटर कार शुड बी इंक्लूडेड इन द फिक्स्ड असेट्स, नॉट इन द क्लोजिंग इन्वेंट्री ऑफ गुड्स। तो ये डी वाला जो प्रोसीजर आर्टिकल ने परफॉर्म किया है, इसके लिए आर्टिकल को मिलेगी थ्रैशिंग फ्रॉम द प्रिंसिपल। व्हाट हैव यू डन, व्हाट हैव यू डन, राइट? सो दिस इज द इनकरेक्ट प्रोसीजर। So this brings us to the end of the MCQ questions। अभी हम descriptive questions में पहले incorrect correct questions को डिस्कस कर लेते हैं। यहाँ पे मैं डिटेल में आपके साथ नहीं डिस्कस करूंगी, शॉर्ट में मैं आपको बता दूंगी क्या करेक्ट है क्या इनकरेक्ट है। सो फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन इज ओवरऑल ऑडिट प्लान सेट्स द स्कोप, टाइमिंग, डायरेक्शन ऑफ द ऑडिट एंड गाइड्स द डेवलपमेंट ऑफ द मोर डिटेल्ड ऑडिट स्ट्रैटेजी। बिल्कुल उल्टा है ये, ठीक है। सो द आंसर इज इनकरेक्ट। रीजन क्या होगा? एज पर SA 300 द ओवरऑल ऑडिट स्ट्रैटेजी सेट्स द स्कोप, टाइमिंग एंड डायरेक्शन एंड इट गाइड्स द डेवलपमेंट ऑफ द मोर डिटेल्ड ऑडिट प्लान। ऑडिट प्लान इज मोर डिटेल्ड दैन द ऑडिट स्ट्रैटेजी। Next question, the Constitution of India contains no specific provisions regarding the appointment, salary and duties and powers of the CNAG. Moreover, the Constitution does not guarantee the independence of the CAG of India. So again this statement is incorrect because Constitution of India में provisions है regarding the appointment of CNAG and also it ensures that the CNAG who is being appointed is an independent person। इसी के लिए उसका appointment जो है वो किया जाता है by the President of India and also the person cannot be removed on any grounds except for proven misbehavior or misconduct। So only on misconduct or proven misbehavior the person can be removed, hence the independence of the CNAG is also being established। So again this answer is also incorrect। Next question देखो, when we are designing audit procedures to address an inherent risk or what can go wrong, we consider the nature of material misstatement। Of course this statement is correct because whenever we are assessing, whenever we are designing audit procedure to address inherent risk, उस केस में material misstatement को consider करना पड़ेगा। If the material risk of material misstatement is very high, in that case we have to do detailed checking। So the statement is incorrect, statement is completely correct। Next question, if an entity has a known number of employees at fixed rates to pay throughout the period, there would be more need to perform test of details on the payroll। You have fixed number of employees and fixed rates of pay, in that case we can just estimate the salary amount, estimate the employee benefit expenses and there is less requirement to perform test of details on the payroll। So analytical procedure से काम हो जाएगा, आपको test of details कम perform करने की यहाँ पे जरूरत है। So statement is incorrect। Next, the term relative as defined under Companies Act 2013 means anyone who is closely related to another। So of course it is incorrect, you have to write the definition that persons who are related to one another by way of members of HUF, husband and wife, mother, father including stepmother, stepfather, brother, sister including stepbrother, stepsister, then son including stepson, daughter not including stepdaughter and son's wife and daughter's husband। So these are the people who are defined as relative, not just anyone who is closely related to one another, है ना। I am related to my friend very closely, that doesn't mean that person is my relative, right? So you have to write the definition of relative। So are you understanding how you are supposed to answer the correct and incorrect question? First you write that the statement is incorrect, then why is it incorrect? You write the correct thing and then substantiate your answer that this is incorrect because this is the correct thing। ये जो दिखा है ये गलत है आपको, तो आपको correct statement जो है वो लिखना पड़ेगा। Question number 6, according to section 141, the auditor appointed under section 139 may be removed from his office before the expiry of his term only by passing board resolution। This is a very significant matter, we are removing the auditor before expiry of his term। Two important things are required, first obtain prior approval of the central government और उसके 60 days के अंदर you have to pass a special resolution by the members। So members have to pass a special resolution, you have to file form ADT2 with the central government। So we have to write this section 141 का provisions, 140 subsection 1, right? Next, in considering the qualitative aspects of the entity's accounting practices, the auditor may not become aware of possible bias in management judgment। So whenever the auditors checking the qualitative aspects of the entity's accounting practices, the auditor comes across the the biasness of the management, because अगर आप देखते हो कि management is only rectifying those misstatements which are resulting in increase in earnings, or those misstatements only which are resulting in the better position of the financial statements. In that case, we can see that there's possible bias in the management ka judgments. So the auditor may highlight lack of neutrality of the management while considering the qualitative aspects of the entity's accounting practices. Next, one of the key principles of accrual basis of accounting requires that an asset's cost is proportionally expensed based on the period over which the asset is expected to be used. 100% करेक्ट स्टेटमेंट. हम जो डेप्रिसिएशन अमोर्टाइजेशन रिकॉर्ड करते हैं वो क्यों करते हैं? हम जो असेट की कॉस्ट है उसको डिवाइड कर देते हैं ओवर द पीरियड फॉर विच वी आर गोइंग टू यूज द असेट. सो द स्टेटमेंट इज करेक्ट. Right, this brings us to the end of the objective type question discussion. In the part 2 of this video, मैं इसका एक और part record करूंगी, उसमें हम सारे जो descriptive questions है उसको discuss करेंगे. Objective questions यहाँ पे over होगा. Okay, now let us discuss the subjective questions or the descriptive questions. पहला क्वेश्चन है प्रोफेशनल स्केप्टिसिज्म के बारे में. प्रोफेशनल स्केप्टिसिज्म इज एन एटीट्यूड दैट इंक्लूड्स अ क्वेश्चनिंग माइंड, बीइंग अलर्ट टू कंडीशंस व्हिच may indicate possible misstatements and a critical assessment of the audit evidence. The auditor shall plan and perform an audit with professional skepticism, recognizing the circumstances may exist that cause the financial statements to be materially misstated. Question is saying explain giving examples. So we have to explain professional skepticism. No need to explain, पूरा explanation already दिया हुआ है. इसी चीज को हम कॉपी करके लिख देंगे. प्रोफेशनल स्केप्टिसिज्म ये होता है. वी ऑल्सो गिव द रेफरेंस टू एसे 200 जहां पर प्रोफेशनल स्केप्टिसिज्म का डिस्कशन है. एंड देन वी गिव द एग्जांपल्स ऑफ द एरियाज. तो क्वेश्चन ने क्या पूछा? आपको एग्जांपल्स देने ऑफ एरियाज वेयर द ऑडिटर इज गोइंग टू अप्लाई प्रोफेशनल स्केप्टिसिज्म. तो आपको अगर याद हो ऐसे 200 में कहा गया है कि एरियाज वेयर ऑडिट एविडेंस इज कॉन्ट्राडिक्टरी, दैट इज ऑडिटर इज ऑब्टेनिंग कॉन्ट्राडिक्टरी ऑडिट एविडेंस, देयर प्रोफेशनल स्केप्टिसिज्म हैज टू बी मेंटेन्ड. व्हेन फ्रॉड रिस्क फैक्टर्स हैव बीन आइडेंटिफाइड, इन दैट केस प्रोफेशनल स्केप्टिसिज्म हैज टू बी मेंटेन्ड. If there are circumstances which may indicate कि SAs में जो ऑडिट प्रोसीजर बताए गए हैं उससे एडिशनल भी कुछ ऑडिट प्रोसीजर्स परफॉर्म करने हैं, इन दैट केस अगेन प्रोफेशनल स्केप्टिसिज्म इज रिक्वायर्ड. एंड ऑल्सो if the evidence that has been generated or obtained brings into question the reliability of the information in the FS, again in that case professional skepticism has to be maintained. Professional skepticism maintain करके auditor को क्या मिलेगा? Auditor will help in reducing the auditor's chances or chances of over generalizing the audit evidence that has been obtained or overlooking unusual circumstances, or it will also help the auditor from using less inappropriate assumptions. That is, it will reduce the risk of auditor using inappropriate assumptions for forming the nature, for deciding upon the nature, timing and extent of the audit procedure. So ये हो गया हमारा first question regarding professional skepticism. Next question is, both accounting and auditing are closely related with each other. Explain. So we know that auditing is related very closely related to a lot of other disciplines including accounting. तो हमें accounting की बात करनी है. How are accounting and auditing closely related? Because auditor audits the financial statements which are prepared as per the generally accepted accounting principles. So in order to be an efficient auditor, the auditor must first have a sound understanding of the accounting principles. GAAP की अच्छी knowledge होनी चाहिए, because जिस चीज को check कर रहे हैं वो बनी किस बेसिस पे उसकी नॉलेज होनी चाहिए. Hence in this case accounting and auditing are very closely related, because the auditor in the case of financial statements audit is going to check the financial statement which is a result of accounting. So accounting is first and then auditing follows. Auditing is actually the post-mortem of your accounts. So first, for becoming a good auditor, we need to have a good understanding of the accounting principles and policies, right? So hence these two are closely interrelated. Next question, as per SA 220 quality control for an audit of FS, the engagement partner shall take responsibility for the overall quality on each audit engagement to which the partner is assigned. Explain clearly stating the meaning of engagement partner, and also the actions of engagement partner and appropriate messages to other members of the engagement team in taking responsibility for the overall quality of the audit engagement. So there are two parts of the question. First is meaning of engagement partner. Who is an engagement partner? Engagement partner is the partner in the firm who is having the responsibility, the overall responsibility for planning and performing the audit. The partner who is responsible for signing the audit report is the engagement partner. अब इनके actions क्या क्या होंगे? This partner should emphasize that audit quality should be maintained in the firm. The partner should ensure whenever any communication is being made with the members, with the audit team members, the partner should ensure that quality of audit work is maintained. Compliance with all the professional and regulatory requirements is done. All the policies and procedures, quality control policies and procedures are designed in the firm and these are being implemented in the firm. Also, any member can raise their concerns without any fear. अगर मुझे कुछ concern है तो मैं खुल के उसको बोल सकती हूँ. And also the partner has to ensure that the report that is being issued is appropriate in all circumstances. So ये हो गई audit engagement partner के क्या क्या actions होने चाहिए. So whenever two parts of a question are there, you change paragraphs while writing the answer. पहले आप लिखो engagement partner का मतलब क्या as per essay 220. Then you write the actions which are to be taken by the engagement partner. Right? Next question, the firm should establish policies and procedures designed to provide it with reasonable assurance that the policies and procedures relating to the system of quality control are relevant, adequate, operating effectively and complied with in practice. Such policies and procedures should include an ongoing consideration and evaluation of the firm's system of quality control. So if you can relate it, this is a question relating to the elements of a system of quality control. LECM, right? LECM उसका लास्ट जो पॉइंट था, लास्ट एलिमेंट दैट इज मॉनिटरिंग, उससे क्वेश्चन रिलेटेड है. क्वेश्चन पूछ रहे हैं एक्सप्लेन द पर्पस ऑफ द मॉनिटरिंग कंप्लायंस विथ क्वालिटी कंट्रोल पॉलिसीज एंड प्रोसीजर. तो मॉनिटर करके क्या होगा, व्हाट आर द पर्पसेस ऑफ मॉनिटरिंग? The firm, the engagement partner will be able to assess whether all the professional, legal and regulatory requirements have been complied with or not, whether the firm has designed appropriate, first you have to check whether appropriate quality control policies and procedures were designed or not, design implemented. Second, they were applied or not, the quality control procedures, policies were applied or not. So three purpose हो गए. पहला तो ये चेक करना whether all the legal, professional, regulatory requirements were followed or not, and the report which is issued is appropriate in the circumstances. That is the objective of SQC1 and SA 220. And then whether the quality control procedures and policies were designed, implemented, whether they were applied or not. Right? Okay. Next देखते हैं question number 4. The auditor shall plan the nature, timing and extent of direction and supervision of engagement team members and the review of their work. The nature, timing and extent of the direction, supervision of engagement team members and review of their work depending on many factors. Explain giving examples. Now you see, सीधा यहाँ पे लिख दिया explain giving examples. Now what do I explain? We read the question again. The nature, timing and extent, मैं यहाँ से पढ़ रही हूँ. The nature, timing and extent of the direction, supervision of the engagement team members and review of their work depend on many factors. This depends on many factors. So if you remember essay 300, वहाँ पे हमने पढ़ा ऑडिट प्लानिंग के अंदर, रादर आप ऐसे 220 के अंदर हम ये पढ़ते हैं, 220 एंड SQC1 के अंदर, कि जो एक्सटेंट ऑफ डायरेक्शन, सुपरविजन एंड रिव्यू है, एक्सटेंट ऑफ डायरेक्शन, सुपरविजन, रिव्यू डिपेंड्स ऑन मेनी फैक्टर्स. लाइक आपकी एंगेजमेंट टीम जो है उसका स्किल एंड कॉम्पिटेंस कितना है, हाउ कॉम्पिटेंट दे आर, व्हाट आर देयर कैपेबिलिटीज. वी ऑल्सो कंसिडर द साइज एंड कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी ऑफ द एंटिटी. द लार्जर द साइज ऑफ द एंटिटी, द मोर कॉम्प्लेक्स द ट्रांजैक्शंस आर, मोर सुपरविजन डायरेक्शन इज रिक्वायर्ड. सो वी हैव टू एक्सप्लेन द फैक्टर्स ऑन विच कितना सुपरविजन, कितना रिव्यू करता है, वो डिपेंड करता है. ठीक है, तो साइज एंड कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी ऑफ द एंटिटी, द कैपेबिलिटीज एंड कॉम्पिटेंस ऑफ द टीम मेंबर्स, द एरिया ऑफ ऑडिट, दैट द एरिया ऑफ ऑडिट, जैसे कि अगर बहुत ऐसी कोई एरिया ऑडिट कर रहे हैं जहाँ पे बहुत मैनेजमेंट जजमेंट्स इन्वॉल्व हैं, तो वहाँ पे डेफिनेटली रिव्यू बनता है, काम को सुपरविजन करना बनता है एंगेजमेंट पार्टनर का. बट सिंपल एरिया है, सिंपल एरिया ऑफ ऑडिट है, तो वहाँ पे मे बी आप कम सुपरविजन भी कर सकते हैं. एंड फाइनली ऑल्सो द रिस्क ऑफ मटीरियल मिस स्टेटमेंट. इफ रिस्क ऑफ मटीरियल मिस स्टेटमेंट एसोसिएटेड विद अ पर्टिकुलर एलिमेंट इज वेरी हाई, in that case we have to do more supervision, more review of the work of the team members, right? तो इस तरह से आपको फैक्टर्स लिखने हैं 4 और उसको एक्सप्लेन करना है कि अगर हायर RMM हुआ तो हम ज्यादा सुपरविजन, ज्यादा डायरेक्शन करेंगे, कम RMM अगर हुआ कोई एलिमेंट में तो हम लोग कम सुपरविजन रिव्यू करेंगे. इस तरह से एक एक पॉइंट लिख के उसका एग्जाम्पल अपने को देना है. Next question, the auditor shall document the overall audit strategy, the audit plan, and any significant changes made to the overall audit strategy or the audit plan. Explain in detail giving examples. So this question is regarding documentation of the audit strategy, audit plan, and the changes in the audit strategy and audit plan. ठीक है, तो इसके अंदर हमको क्या क्या डॉक्यूमेंट करना है? द ऑडिटर हैज टू डॉक्यूमेंट द ओवरऑल ऑडिट स्ट्रैटेजी. इन दैट व्हाट विल द ऑडिटर डॉक्यूमेंट? ऑल द फैक्टर्स दैट हैव बीन कंसिडर्ड व्हाइल प्रिपरेशन ऑफ द ओवरऑल ऑडिट स्ट्रैटेजी व्हिच डिटरमिन द स्कोप, टाइमिंग एंड डायरेक्शन ऑफ द ऑडिट एंगेजमेंट. ऑडिट प्लान के अंदर द ऑडिटर हैज टू डॉक्यूमेंट द नेचर, टाइमिंग एंड एक्सटेंट ऑफ द रिस्क असेसमेंट प्रोसीजर, नेचर, टाइमिंग एंड एक्सटेंट ऑफ द फर्दर ऑडिट प्रोसीजर एंड एनी अदर प्लान्ड ऑडिट प्रोसीजर्स अदर देन दोज रिक्वायर्ड बाय द स्टैंडर्ड्स ऑन ऑडिटिंग. सो ये सारी चीजें हमको प्लानिंग में डॉक्यूमेंट करनी है, ऑडिट प्लान की डॉक्यूमेंट करनी है. और कोई भी चेंज अगर हुआ स्ट्रैटेजी में, प्लान में, तो व्हाट वाज द चेंज मेड एंड द रीजन फॉर मेकिंग सच चेंजेस हैव टू बी रिकॉर्डेड, राइट? Okay, next question, explaining evolving one audit program applicable to all businesses under all circumstances is not practicable. Explain clearly, stating in detail the meaning of audit program. So first we need to write the meaning of audit program. Audit program क्या होता है? It is a series of verification steps which are described in detail in order to conduct the audit or the verification of different items of the financial statements. So detailed audit procedures or techniques are mentioned in the audit program. Now, one audit program is impracticable for different businesses because businesses vary in their nature and size and complexity. Internal controls are different. So, if we make one audit program, तो हो सकता है वो दूसरे कंपनी के इंटरनल कंट्रोल से मैच ना करे, उसके पॉलिसीज अलग हो, प्रोसीजर्स अलग हो, दे मे बिलोंग टू डिफरेंट सेक्टर्स ऑफ द इंडस्ट्री. हेंस इवॉल्विंग वन ऑडिट प्रोग्राम इज नॉट प्रैक्टिकेबल. हाउएवर ऑडिट प्रोग्राम should be prepared for all audits of all big enterprises. For small enterprises we may not prepare the audit program, but for enterprises which have a large scale operation, which have large scale operations, for that we have to evolve or prepare an audit program. But same audit program is not practicable to be used in all circumstances, right? Audit program's purpose will only not be solved if it becomes obsolete or if it is not applicable, to the particular engagement. So it has to be prepared. Engagement specific audit program has to be prepared. Next question देखो, in most of the assertions, much of the evidence be drawn and each one should be considered and weighed to ascertain its weight to prove or disapprove the assertion. An auditor picks up evidence from a variety of fields, analyze and explain with the help of examples. Now this question is very tricky. What is it asking? The question is saying auditor picks up evidence from a variety of fields, analyze and explain with the help of examples. So you have to write regarding the sources from which the auditor is obtaining audit evidences. कौन कौन से माध्यम है जहां से ऑडिटर को ऑडिट एविडेंसेस मिलते हैं? तो ऑडिटर को ऑडिट एविडेंसेस काफ़ी सारी जगह से मिलते हैं, जैसे डॉक्यूमेंट्री एग्जामिनेशन से एविडेंस मिलता है, फिजिकल एग्जामिनेशन से, स्टेटमेंट एंड एक्सप्लेनेशन ऑफ मैनेजमेंट ऑफिशियल्स, देन व्हेन वी आर चेकिंग द सब्सिडरी लेजर्स, द जनरल लेजर्स, द मिनट्स ऑफ मीटिंग्स ऑफ द बुक्स, एक्सटर्नल कंफर्मेशन हो गया, देन इंटरनल कंट्रोल्स का जब इवैल्यूएशन होता है, फ्रॉम दैट ऑल्सो वी गेट अ लॉट ऑफ ऑडिट एविडेंस. कौन सा एविडेंस किस केस में इंपॉर्टेंट होगा वो भी रेलिवेंट होगा, वो भी मैटर करता है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल इन केस ऑफ कैश इन हैंड, द बेस्ट एविडेंस इज ऑब्टेन्ड बाय फिजिकल काउंटिंग. In case of investments pledged with a bank, the best kind of evidence or the most relevant evidence is the certificate that we obtain from the bank. So in that way different evidences are relevant to different circumstances and the auditor has to weigh upon which evidence is relevant to which circumstance. तो यहाँ पे हमको लिखना था sources of different audit evidence, कहाँ से auditor को evidences मिल सकते हैं, right? Okay, next question देखते हैं. An important factor in determining the form, content and extent of audit documentation of significant matters is the extent of professional judgment exercised in performing the work and evaluating the results. So an important factor in determining the form, content and extent of audit documentation, कितना documentation करेंगे of significant matters is an exercise of professional judgment. Explain stating clearly the examples of significant matters. तो क्वेश्चन क्या पूछा? सिग्निफिकेंट मैटर्स क्या होते हैं जहां पे ऑडिटर को अपना प्रोफेशनल जजमेंट एक्सरसाइज करना होता है, उसके एग्जांपल्स बताइए। ठीक है, सो वी हैव टू explain or write about the significant matters where the auditor exercises the professional judgment and it has to be documented. So what are significant matters? Matters which are giving rise to significant risk, या फिर results of procedures, audit procedures which is indicating that FS could be materially misstated or there is a need to revise auditor का previous assessment of the RMM, या फिर ऐसा circumstance which is causing the auditor difficulty in applying an audit procedure or which is indicating that emphasis of matter paragraph should be included, either modification of opinion or the inclusion of EOM para is required। ऐसे जो cases होते हैं वो significant matters हो जाते हैं, matters which is giving rise to significant रिस्क, या फिर EOM पैरा या मॉडिफिकेशन रिक्वायर्ड है, या फिर ऑडिट प्रोसीजर्स का रिजल्ट है जो वो बोल रहा है कि FS कुड बी मटीरियली मिसस्टेटेड और देयर इज अ नीड टू रिवाइज द ऑडिटर्स असेसमेंट ऑफ RMM, या फिर सर्कमस्टांस व्हिच कॉज सिग्निफिकेंट डिफिकल्टी for the auditor to apply a particular audit procedure. Here professional judgment is involved in deciding what are the matters, significant matters which need to be documented. Professional judgment का documentation क्यों काम आता है? For people who are reviewing the work of the auditor, for reviewing the work, which areas did the auditor exercise professional judgment, कहाँ पे auditor ने अपना judgment को अप्लाई किया था। अगर कोई उसके काम को रिव्यू करके ये जानना चाहता है तो उसके लिए ये जो डॉक्यूमेंटेशन है ये बहुत ज़्यादा काम आती है। सो डॉक्यूमेंटेशन ऑफ प्रोफेशनल जजमेंट serves to explain the auditor's conclusion and to reinforce the quality of the judgment. It is of particular interest to those responsible for reviewing the audit documentation, including those carrying on subsequent audits. Right? So ये हो गया हमारा प्रोफेशनल जजमेंट कहाँ पे हम लोग अप्लाई करेंगे इन केस ऑफ सिग्निफिकेंट मैटर्स। नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन देखते हैं। Sufficiency is the measure of the quantity of audit evidence. The quantity of audit evidence needed is affected by the auditor's assessment of the RMM and also by the quality of such audit evidence. Obtaining more audit evidence, however, may not compensate for its poor quality. Explain also stating the factors affecting auditor's judgment as to the sufficiency of audit evidence. So this question is relating to our essay. Question is relating to essay 500. पहला वाला जो क्वेश्चन था इट वाज रिलेटिंग टू essay 230 दैट इज ऑडिट डॉक्यूमेंटेशन। अभी जो क्वेश्चन है दैट इज रिलेटिंग टू essay 500 ऑडिट एविडेंस। सफिशिएंसी को डिटरमिन करने के क्या क्या फैक्टर्स हैं? फर्स्ट वन इज द मटीरियलिटी ऑफ द एलिमेंट। if the item is more material, in that case we have to obtain more evidence for that, but items which are less material to the users, for that the auditor may also obtain less audit evidence. Then the risk of material misstatement. If RMM involved in the item or the element of FS is very high, in that case more evidence has to be obtained. And the last factor is the size and characteristics of the population. अगर population बहुत ज़्यादा है, population के अंदर sample size बहुत population के अंदर जो units है वो बहुत ज़्यादा हैं, in that case more evidence is required. If the population is homogeneous population, similar kind of elements are there, तो आप कम audit evidence से भी काम चल जाएगा. But अगर heterogeneous audit population है तो more audit evidence is required. So you have to state the factors and also explain giving examples. Right? नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन देखो, देयर आर स्पेसिफिक अकाउंटिंग एंड डिस्क्लोजर रिक्वायरमेंट्स फॉर रिलेटेड पार्टी ट्रांजैक्शंस एंड बैलेंसेस टू एनेबल यूजर्स ऑफ फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स टू अंडरस्टैंड देयर नेचर एंड इफेक्ट्स ऑन द फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स। Explain in detail, stating clearly auditor's responsibility in the above context. Now see, question is not stating कि कौन से स्टैंडर्ड से रिलेटेड है, क्वेश्चन कहाँ से आया, कुछ नहीं पूछ रहे हैं। क्वेश्चन में बोला बस रिलेटेड पार्टी ट्रांजैक्शंस के कुछ डिस्क्लोजर्स वगैरह रिक्वायर्ड होते हैं, ऑडिटर की इसमें क्या रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है। सो यू नीड टू रिकॉल कि कौन से स्टैंडर्ड से रिलेटेड है। मैम दिस क्वेश्चन इज रिलेटिंग टू essay 550. So what are the auditor's responsibilities relating to essay 550 related parties? First of all, the auditor has to assess the risk. How much risk is there that the entity, the management of the entity may have failed to identify the related parties. कितना रिस्क है कि मैनेजमेंट ने अपने related parties को आइडेंटिफाई नहीं किया। उसके बाद द ऑडिटर हैज टू अंडरस्टैंड एंड इवैल्यूएट द रिलेशनशिप्स बिटवीन द एंटिटी एंड उसका रिलेटेड पार्टी, उसके रिलेशनशिप्स और उसके ट्रांजैक्शंस को ऑडिटर को समझना पड़ेगा. देन द ऑडिटर ऑल्सो नीड्स टू असेस वेदर एनी फ्रॉड रिस्क फैक्टर एग्जिस्ट्स और नॉट. Any fraud risk factor is indicated by this related party or not, or is this related party an indicator of any fraud risk factor or not. And finally, the auditor has to check whether all the required disclosures and presentations which are required by the FRF have been made or not. So these are the 4 responsibilities of auditor in relation to checking for the disclosure requirements and the sufficiency of the related party relationships. You may also refer to SA 240 here, that if the auditor is of the opinion that the related party transaction is a fraud risk factor, in that case the auditor also need to consider the requirements of SA 240, that is fraud and the auditor's responsibilities, right? Yeah. Next question, the nature and timing of the audit procedures to be used may be affected by the fact that some of the accounting data and other information may be available only in electronic form or only at certain points or periods in time. Explain with the help of examples. So आप audit procedures जो perform करेंगे, whatever audit procedures are performed are dependent on the availability of information. Some information may only be available in electronic form. In that case, you also have to perform your ऑडिट प्रोसीजर्स इन दैट फॉर्मेट ओनली. आपको इलेक्ट्रॉनिक डेटा इन्फॉर्मेशन के ऊपर प्रोसीजर परफॉर्म करने पड़ेंगे, आपको भी ऑटोमेटेड टूल्स यूज करने पड़ेंगे. और सर्टेन इन्फॉर्मेशन में भी अवेलेबल ओनली एट सर्टेन पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम. जैसे कैश इन हैंड का अगर फिजिकल वेरिफिकेशन करना है तो वो आपको बैलेंस शीट डेट के दिन ही करना पड़ेगा, या अगर आप किसी और डेट पे करते हो तो आपको रिकॉन्सिलिएशन करना पड़ेगा. सो देन इन दैट केस ऑल्सो ऑडिट प्रोसीजर का टाइमिंग विल बी अफेक्टेड. सो गिविंग एग्जाम्पल्स वी हैव टू एक्सप्लेन. एक बार एग्जाम्पल्स देख लेते क्या क्या यहाँ पे दिए गए हैं. For example, say source documents such as purchase orders and invoices may exist only in electronic form when the entity uses e-commerce, or may be discarded after scanning when an entity uses image processing system. हो सकता है entity के यहाँ पे physical documentation का system ना हो, scan करके document को discard कर देते हैं, तो auditor will have to request that please provide us the scanned documents for our review, और the auditor will have to ask the entity कि please आप अपने documents को रख के रखें ताकि हम उसको check जो है कर सकें, right? So this was a simple question. You just need to understand कि लिखना क्या है. बस point यही है कि आपको समझ आना चाहिए what the question is actually asking you. Yeah, next question देखो. A higher level of assurance may be sought about the operating effectiveness of controls when the approach adopted consists primarily of the test of controls. Explain and also state when will the auditor design and perform TOC to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence as to the operating effectiveness of relevant controls. Now this question is relating to your SA 330. हालांकि SA 330 आपके सिलेबस में नहीं है, बट इसका ये जो पोर्शन है ये इंस्टीट्यूट मटेरियल में कवर्ड है इन दिस चैप्टर ऑडिट डॉक्यूमेंटेशन एंड ऑडिट एविडेंस. सो TOC हम लोग कब परफॉर्म करते हैं? टेस्ट ऑफ कंट्रोल्स इज परफॉर्म बाय द ऑडिटर. फर्स्ट यू हैव टू राइट द मीनिंग ऑफ टेस्ट ऑफ कंट्रोल्स. इट इज परफॉर्म बाय द ऑडिटर टू evaluate the operating effectiveness of internal controls in the entity. Now when will the auditor perform test of controls? When the auditor is deciding to rely upon the operating effectiveness of internal controls. That is ऑडिटर जो अपना मटेरियल मिसस्टेटमेंट्स का जो रिस्क असेसमेंट कर रहा है या और जो ऑडिट प्रोसीजर्स परफॉर्म कर रहे हैं वो इस बेसिस पे परफॉर्म करे कि कंट्रोल्स आर ऑपरेटिंग इफेक्टिवली. सो द ऑडिटर इज प्लानिंग टू रिलाई अपॉन द इफेक्टिवनेस ऑफ इंटरनल कंट्रोल्स. इन दैट केस TOC have to be performed. और when the auditor is of the opinion कि substantive audit procedure से मेरा काम सिर्फ नहीं चलने वाला, I have to perform TOC also. I have to perform compliance procedure in combination with substantive audit procedure. So in two cases the auditor has to perform TOC, right? Next question, when more persuasive audit evidence is needed regarding the effectiveness of a control, it may be appropriate to increase the extent of testing of the control as well as the degree of reliance on controls. Discuss the matters the auditor may consider in determining the extent of test of controls. So you have to discuss the factors which help the auditor in determining कितना TOC perform करना है, the extent of test of controls. So इसमें क्या क्या फैक्टर्स हैं? The frequency with which the controls have been applied by the management, the frequency with which the controls have been applied, the time period, the length of time for which the auditor is planning to rely on these controls, the expected level of deviation, the expected deviations that are being expected, the rate of deviation, the relevance and reliability of the audit evidence that is to be obtained through performing the test of controls, and the extent of to which the audit evidence is obtained from the TOC related to other assertion. So the extent to which the audit evidence is obtained from test of other controls. तो इस control को हमको कितना check करना है, depend करता है बाकी control से क्या इस assertion का evidence मिल रहा है क्या. So the extent to which AE is obtained from test of other controls relating to the same assertion, उसके ऊपर डिपेंड करेगा इस assertion की हमको कितनी ज्यादा इस कंट्रोल की कितनी ज्यादा चेकिंग करनी है. द डिटेल ऑफ टेस्टिंग ऑफ अ कंट्रोल. नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन देखो. द रिस्क ऑफ मटीरियल मिसस्टेटमेंट में एग्जिस्ट एट द फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट लेवल एंड द assertion level. एक्सप्लेन द टू लेवल्स. So yes, RMM may exist at two levels. At the FS level, that means it is relating, the risk of material misstatement is relating to the financial statements as a whole. That means it is pervasively related to the financial statements, pervasively related to the entity. It is affecting more than one items and substantially affecting the entity. And at the assertion level also, the auditor assesses the risk of material misstatement in order to determine the nature, extent and timing of the audit procedure, the further audit procedure that the auditor is going to perform. उसके लिए assertion level पे, individual level, that is individual account balance, class of transaction and disclosure level पे auditor RMM को assess करता है in order to decide upon the nature, extent, timing of कि each assertion के लिए हम कितना audit procedure perform करेंगे. उसको decide करने के लिए पहले हर assertion का हम लोग individual RMM जो है वो assess कर लेते हैं. Next देखो, for the purpose of identifying and assessing the risk of material misstatement, the auditor shall identify risks through the process of obtaining an understanding of the entity and its environment, explain in detail along with the relevant points. So now what is the question asking? See, for the purpose of identifying and assessing the RMM, the auditor shall identify risks through the process of obtaining an understanding of the entity and its environment. So basically you have to discuss about how you are going to identify and assess the risk of material misstatement. So first the auditor has to identify the RMM. The auditor has to identify the RMM through obtaining the understanding of the entity and its environment, right, including the internal controls. Then the auditor has to assess the identified risks and evaluate क्या ये financial statements as a whole से relate करता है, whether this RMM is related to FS as a whole. Then we have to relate the identified risks to what can go wrong at the assertion level. That means we have to see, is this risk of material misstatement, do we have to determine the RMM for individual assertions also. And finally we have to consider the likelihood of this misstatement कि इसका occur होने का chance कितना है, including the possibility of the multiple misstatements to occur, right. तो इसका magnitude का हमको जो magnitude है उसको assess करना है and कितना chances है कि ये misstatement हो सकता है financial statements के अंदर, right. yes, next question देखिए. Much of the information obtained by the auditor's inquiries is obtained from management and those responsible for financial reporting. However, the auditor may also obtain information or a different perspective in identifying RMM through inquiries of others within the entity. So you know, inquiry is one of the techniques जिससे auditor audit evidence obtain करता है. Inquiry किससे करते हैं? Generally management and those responsible for the financial reporting process. But inquiry may be done from others within the entity also. Explain with the help of examples. So question is regarding और किससे किससे इंक्वायरी कर सकते हैं other than the management. So you have to read the question, you have to identify कि question क्या पूछ रहे हैं. We have to write कि और किससे किससे auditor जो इंक्वायरी कर सकते हैं. So inquiries can be made to the employees also. Inquiries can be made to the employees who are initiating the entries, who are processing the entries. उनसे हमें क्या information मिलेगी? Whether the accounting policies, practices that are being followed are correct or not. Inquiries can be made to those charged with governance also. From them what information can we get? We can get information for understanding the entity, its environment, the internal controls. ठीक है, उनके internal culture के बारे में information मिल सकती है. Then we can also inquire the इंटरनल ऑडिट पर्सनल ऑफ द एंटिटी, इफ देयर इज एनी इंटरनल ऑडिट डिपार्टमेंट, उनको भी हम इंक्वायर कर सकते हैं। उनको इंक्वायर करके व्हाट इन्फॉर्मेशन विल वी गेट? वी एज एन ऑडिटर विल गेट द इंफॉर्मेशन रिगार्डिंग द एडिक्वेसी ऑफ द इंटरनल कंट्रोल्स. If they have highlighted any point, any significant risk element in their audit report, we can get information about that also. We can also inquire to the in-house legal counsel of the entity. उससे हमें कितने cases pending चल रहे, pending litigations, claims, उनकी probability of occurrence, probability of the litigation and claim going against the entity or materializing, उसके बारे में हमें इंफॉर्मेशन मिल सकती है, whether a provision has to be made or not. Then inquiries directed towards marketing and sales personnel, from them we can get information whether there was any change in the marketing strategies और sales का trend analysis कैसा जा रहा है, उसके बारे में इंफॉर्मेशन मिल सकती है. Inquiries directed to the risk management function, it may provide us information about various kind of business risks, operational risk, जिसको auditor consider करके अपनी audit को plan कर सकते हैं. Then also inquiries to the information systems personnel, they will provide us information कि systems के अंदर क्या changes हुआ, unauthorized access क्या किसी को दिया जा सकता है, क्या किसी ने ऐसा कोई failure identify हुआ, any system failure, what are the controls that are implemented in the entity relating to information systems. So these information can be obtained, hence we can inquire from persons within the entity also. Right, next question देखिए. Analytical procedures performed as risk assessment procedures may identify aspects of the entity of which the auditor was unaware and may assist in assessing the risk of material misstatement in order to provide a basis for designing and implementing responses to the assessed risk. Explain in detail. So यहाँ पे बात हो रही है कि हम लोग AP को यूज करेंगे, एनालिटिकल प्रोसीजर्स को यूज करेंगे एज रिस्क असेसमेंट प्रोसीजर. सो एनालिटिकल प्रोसीजर कैन बी यूज्ड बोथ एज रिस्क असेसमेंट प्रोसीजर एंड ऑल्सो एज सब्सटैंटिव ऑडिट प्रोसीजर. तो हमको इस आंसर में यही लिखना है कि एनालिटिकल प्रोसीजर परफॉर्म करने से ऑडिटर को काफ़ी सारी ऐसी रिस्क, मतलब कोई कंपैरिजन करने से या ट्रेंड एनालिसिस करने से ऑडिटर को ऐसी काफ़ी सारी फैक्टर्स या इंफॉर्मेशन मिल सकती है विच द ऑडिटर वॉज प्रीवियसली नॉट अवेयर ऑफ. एंड एनालिटिकल प्रोसीजर can be used as risk assessment procedure also as substantive audit procedure. This risk assessment procedure combined with the substantive audit procedure will give the auditor a result about the risk of material misstatements and the actual misstatements which are there in the entity. Right? Next question देखो. Explain what an auditor is expected to do if as a result of a misstatement resulting from fraud or suspected fraud, the auditor encounters exceptional circumstances that bring into question the auditor's ability to continue performing the audit. So if the auditor is unable to perform the audit, this question is related to, of course, ऐसे 240 fraud and the auditor's responsibilities. तो अगर आप continue ही नहीं कर पा रहे engagement, तो क्या करेंगे? First of all, we have to determine whether there is any legal or professional obligation. We have to determine whether we need to withdraw from the engagement, and if the auditor is planning to withdraw from the engagement, then the auditor has to communicate it to the management and TCWG, and also the auditor has to determine whether the auditor is having any professional or legal obligation to report it to the reporting authority, to the appropriate authorities or not. तो दो चीजें चेक करनी है. पहले तो अपनी प्रोफेशनल लीगल रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी को चेक करना है, वेदर इट इज पॉसिबल टू विड्रॉ, एंड इफ द ऑडिटर इज प्लानिंग टू विड्रॉ, इन दैट केस अगेन कम्युनिकेट करना पड़ेगा टू द मैनेजमेंट TCWG along with the reasons why the auditor is wanting to withdraw, and also determine the professional and legal obligation whether reporting to the appointing authority or any appropriate regulatory authority is required or not. Right? Next question देखो. As per subsection 12 of section 143 of the Companies Act, if an auditor of a company in the course of performance of his duties, तो जब ऐसा कोई बड़ा क्वेश्चन आता है ना, तो हम पहले लास्ट लाइन को एक बार पढ़ लेते हैं. लास्ट लाइन क्या कह रही है देखो. Explain the manner of reporting the matter to the central government in the above context. तो आपको पता है section 143 subsection 12 read with rule 13 of the Companies Audit and Auditors Rules 2014 tells us that if any amount which has been noticed or reported by the auditor, any amount of fraud which is greater than, which exceeds rupees 1 crore, an amount of rupees 1 crore or more, if the fraud is involving an amount of rupees 1 crore or more, it has to be reported to the central government. तो question is regarding the manner of reporting, मतलब आपको rule 13 यहाँ पे जो है डिस्कस करना है. अब rule 13 क्या कहते हैं? If the amount of fraud involved is greater than equal to rupees 1 crore, that is it is 1 crore or more, in that case the auditor has to report to the central government in the manner prescribed. Manner prescribed क्या है? The auditor has to report to the central government immediately but not later than 2 days, but before that the auditor has to report to the board of directors or the audit committee seeking their reply or observations within 45 days. एक रिपोर्ट बना के बोर्ड और ऑडिट कमेटी को देनी पड़ेगी, उनका रिप्लाई 45 डेज के अंदर आना चाहिए. If the reply has been received within 45 days, then after receipt of the reply within the next 15 days, the auditor has to forward his report, the comments of the board or audit committee, and his comments upon the comments of the audit committee and board of directors has to be forwarded to the central government. If no reply has been received within 45 days, then again within the next 15 days the auditor has to forward his report and a note containing details that no reply was received from the BOD or the audit committee has to be forwarded to the central government. सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट को कौन से फॉर्म में हम लोग इस रिपोर्ट को फाइल करेंगे? इन फॉर्म नंबर ADT4, इन फॉर्म नंबर ADT4, राइट? It will be forwarded to the secretary of the central government, the secretary in a acknowledged post, in a registered post with acknowledgement due. Registered post with acknowledgement due में आपको भेजनी पड़ेगी. It has to be prepared upon the, it has to be sent to the secretary, that is Ministry of Corporate Affairs के जो secretary हैं उसको ये जो है address की जाएगी, right? So this is the manner of reporting which has to be followed by the auditor. नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन देखो, विथ द इंक्रीजिंग अडॉप्शन ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन टेक्नोलॉजी बिजनेस टुडे रिलाइज ऑन सॉफ्टवेयर सिस्टम्स एंड एप्लीकेशंस मोर देन एवर. Many of these IT systems generate and process data that is used in the preparation of FS of a company. The auditors also often rely on the data and reports that are generated from these systems, explain stating clearly the meaning of automated environment along with an example. So what is an automated environment? Wherein the business processes, the decisions, the business processes, operations and also decisions are being taken by using the information systems, उसको हम कहते हैं automated environment. एग्जाम्पल क्या हो गया? एग्जाम्पल जैसे ATM मशीन से हम जब कैश विड्रॉ करते हैं तो इट इज बीइंग डन ऑटोमेटिकली. और इफ वी बुक एनी टिकट्स बाय यूजिंग एन ऐप, इफ वी बुक अ मूवी टिकट यूजिंग एन ऐप, और इफ वी बुक अ होटल और अ फ्लाइट टिकट यूजिंग एन ऐप, इन ऑल दीज आर एग्जाम्पल्स ऑफ automated environment wherein the business operations are performed using information systems, right? Next question देखो, when a business operates in a more automated environment, it is likely that we as auditors will see several business functions and activities happening within the systems. Explain which of these aspects will you consider as an auditor. So several business functions and activities are happening in the systems automatically. तो यहाँ पे हमें बात करनी है रिगार्डिंग द बिजनेस एक्टिविटीज विच आर बीइंग परफॉर्म्ड ऑटोमेटिकली. तो बिजनेस एक्टिविटीज क्या क्या ऑटोमेटेड परफॉर्म होती है इन एन एंटिटी? जैसे कि आपका कैलकुलेशंस एंड कंप्यूटेशंस होता है, दीज आर परफॉर्म्ड ऑटोमेटिकली. कैलकुलेशंस एंड कंप्यूटेशंस आर परफॉर्म्ड ऑटोमेटिकली. देन अकाउंटिंग एंट्रीज आर पोस्टेड ऑटोमेटिकली. फॉर एग्जांपल सब लेजर टू जनरल लेजर जो एंट्रीज हो गई वो ऑटोमेटिकली पोस्ट हो जाती है. बिजनेस पॉलिसीज, प्रोसीजर, सेग्रीगेशन ऑफ ड्यूटीज आर implemented in an automated manner. जैसे अप्रूवल ऑफ कस्टमर हो गया, कस्टमर की क्रेडिट लिमिट को चेक करना हो गया. रिपोर्ट्स यूज्ड इन बिजनेस आर produced from systems, the management information system report, and user access and security is also controlled by assigning system roles to the users. ठीक है, रोल मैनेजमेंट के हिसाब से उनको कितना एक्सेस मिलना चाहिए, and the security is also managed through the automated environment, right? Okay, next question देखते हैं. Next question is relating to audit sampling, SA 530. Let us check the question. Sampling risk is the risk that the auditor's conclusion based on a sample may be different from the conclusion if the entire population were subjected to the same audit procedure. Sampling risk leads to erroneous conclusions. Explain in detail distinguishing it from the non-sampling risk with example. तो क्वेश्चन के अगेन दो पार्ट से ध्यान रखिए. एक अपने को एक्सप्लेन करना है सैम्पलिंग रिस्क को, और फिर अपने को उसको डिस्टिंग्विश करना है विद द नॉन सैम्पलिंग रिस्क, एंड नॉन सैम्पलिंग रिस्क के एग्जाम्पल्स भी हम लोग को देने हैं. तो सैम्पलिंग रिस्क का डेफिनेशन ऑलरेडी गिवन है. इट इज द रिस्क दैट द ऑडिटर्स कंक्लूजन बेस्ड ऑन द सैंपल मे बी डिफरेंट इफ द एंटायर पॉपुलेशन वर सब्जेक्टेड टू द सेम ऑडिट प्रोसीजर्स. इससे दो तरह की एरोनियस कंक्लूजन्स रीच होती है. इन केस ऑफ टेस्ट ऑफ कंट्रोल्स, द ऑडिटर में कंक्लूड दैट द टेस्ट ऑफ कंट्रोल दैट द कंट्रोल्स आर more effective than they actually are यानी कि ऑडिटर ने क्या कह दिया, कंट्रोल्स आर मोर इफेक्टिव देन दे एक्चुअली आर, या फिर इन केस ऑफ टेस्ट ऑफ डिटेल्स द ऑडिटर कंक्लूडेड दैट अ मटीरियल मिसस्टेटमेंट डिड नॉट एग्जिस्ट व्हेन द मिसस्टेटमेंट एक्चुअली एग्जिस्टेड। इससे क्या होगा, इससे इट विल लीड टू डिक्रीज, इट विल रिड्यूस द ऑडिट इफेक्टिवनेस एंड इट विल ऑल्सो लीड टू इनअप्रोप्रिएट ऑडिट ओपिनियन, बिकॉज वी आर कंक्लूडिंग कि मिसस्टेटमेंट नहीं था जबकि एक्चुअली मिसस्टेटमेंट्स था। या फिर सेकेंड टाइप ऑफ एरोनियस कंक्लूजन क्या हो सकते हैं, इन केस ऑफ टेस्ट ऑफ कंट्रोल्स द ऑडिटर हैज कंक्लूडेड दैट द कंट्रोल्स आर लेस इफेक्टिव देन दे एक्चुअली आर एंड द ऑडिटर हैज कंक्लूडेड दैट अ मिसस्टेटमेंट एग्जिस्टेड। इन केस ऑफ टेस्ट ऑफ डिटेल्स द ऑडिटर कंक्लूडेड दैट मिसस्टेटमेंट एग्जिस्टेड व्हेन इन फैक्ट इट डिड नॉट एग्जिस्ट। इससे क्या होगा, इट विल अफेक्ट द ऑडिट का एफिशिएंसी एंड विल लीड टू एडिशनल वर्क फॉर द ऑडिटर। And what is non-sampling risk now? Non-sampling risk is the risk that the auditor reaches an erroneous conclusion, but उसका जो reason है, it is not related to sampling risk. The reason is not sampling risk due to some other reason. Say for example, human error हो गया, ठीक है, या misinterpreting the sample results हो गया. These are examples of non-sampling risk. For example, the auditor applied inappropriate audit procedure. जो procedure apply करना चाहिए था वो नहीं apply करके कुछ और procedure apply किया, या फिर एरोनियस इंफॉर्मेशन, जिस डेटा के ऊपर प्रोसीजर अप्लाई किया वो इंफॉर्मेशन ही एरोनियस थी। सो इन दैट केस द ऑडिटर में रीच एन एरोनियस कंक्लूजन, बट उसका जो रीजन है इट इज नॉट ड्यू टू सैम्पलिंग, राइट। नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन देखते हैं, एक्सप्लेन द फैक्टर्स दैट शुड बी कंसिडर्ड फॉर डिसाइडिंग अपॉन द एक्सटेंट ऑफ अ सैम्पलिंग प्लान। कितना सैम्पलिंग पे रिलाई करेंगे उसकी फैक्टर्स। सो फैक्टर्स विच अफेक्ट द सैम्पलिंग प्लान वी हैव टू डिस्कस। Factors are the size of organization, कितनी बड़ी organization है, the state of internal control, the adequacy and reliability of the books of accounts, tolerable error range कितनी है, and what is the desired level of confidence. If desired level of confidence is more or if the tolerable error range is less, आप कम errors tolerate कर सकते हो, then more sampling has to be done, the extent of sampling has to be increased. If internal controls are weak, then more sampling has to be done. If internal controls are strong, you can do less sampling. I mean, you can choose a lesser sample size, right? So these are the factors which determine the extent of checking on a sampling plan. Sample choose कर लिया, उसको कितना डिटेल में चेक करना है, उसके factors ये हैं, right? Next question देखते हैं। In the planning stage, analytical procedure assists the auditor in understanding the client's business and in identifying areas of potential risks. So when we are performing analytical procedure at the planning stage, right, while planning the audit, when we are performing analytical procedure as a part of our risk assessment procedure, say for example, in that case we are able to understand the entity का business environment, हम past के trends को compare कर रहे हैं, previous year financial statements के figures को compare कर रहे हैं, उससे हमें जो एरियाज ऑफ पोटेंशियल रिस्क है या अंडरस्टैंडिंग जो है एंटिटी के इंटरनल कंट्रोल्स की वो जो है डेवलप हो जाती हैं, राइट। सो हेंस प्लानिंग स्टेज पे जो एनालिटिकल प्रोसीजर होते हैं, इट हेल्प्स इन अंडरस्टैंडिंग द क्लाइंट्स बिजनेस एनवायरनमेंट एंड इट हेल्प्स इन असेसिंग द पोटेंशियल रिस्क्स ऑल्सो। Next question, decision about which audit procedures to perform, including whether to use substantive analytical procedures, is based on the auditor's judgment. So whether to use analytical procedure, whether to use test of details, whether to use a combination of both depends on the auditor का professional judgment. Analytical procedures are more suitable for large volume of transactions. For large volume of transaction, analytical procedures are more suitable, and test of details should be performed for material items of account balances, classes of transactions and disclosure requirements, right? Next question देखो, how will you vouch verify the following items? ट्रेडमार्क एंड कॉपीराइट्स के वाउचिंग वेरिफिकेशन के लिए हम अग्रीमेंट्स को चेक करेंगे. वी विल चेक वेदर द कॉपीराइट इज स्टिल एक्टिव और नॉट, वेदर इट हैज एक्सपायर्ड और नॉट. वी विल चेक इन केस ऑफ कॉपीराइट्स, वी विल चेक agreements of royalty with the authors. Then we will also check whether proper treatment as per AS 26 regarding the cost of these assets, intangible assets, regarding amortization has been done or not. We will review or inspect the minute books of minute books of the meetings of the board of directors in order to understand कि कोई important decision लिया गया था regarding trademark copyright, whether these copyrights have been properly registered, these trademarks have been properly registered or not. These are the aspects that we check while vouching, verifying the trademark and copyrights. Next, investment income in case of charitable institution. So for checking the investment income, we will compare or check or examine the investment income that has been recorded in the statement or books of accounts with the counterfoils of the dividend interest. We will check the computation of the interest with the interest rate schedule that has been given, right? उसके बाद हम check करेंगे physically investments को भी verify करेंगे in order to see कि सारी investments पे dividend income, interest income record हुआ कि नहीं हुआ. If there are investments जिसके ऊपर कोई भी interest, dividend income नहीं आया, in that case specific inquiries have to be made. So these are the aspects we check in case of investment income. For contingent liabilities, what do we check? We check whether all the contingent liabilities have been recorded. Completeness को हम check करेंगे. We will check whether these contingent liabilities existed as at the balance sheet date. We will check guarantees taken by the company or any commitments made by the company. Product warranties के लिए हम check करेंगे. We will check agreements with the customers. We will also check examine the valuation. We will check the valuation of these contingent liabilities, whether proper disclosures as per AS 29 have been made or not. So all these aspects have to be checked in case of contingent liabilities. Next, leasehold rights. Contingent liabilities में हम lawyers के legal counsel के भी correspondence को check कर सकते हैं in order to ascertain whether any pending litigations claims have not been disclosed as contingent liabilities and so on. Leasehold rights के अंदर हम क्या check करेंगे? Leasehold rights के अंदर हम सबसे पहले we will verify the agreement between the lessor and the lessee. Then we will check whether proper disclosures relating to the leasehold have been made in the books of accounts or not. We will also check in case of subletting. In case of subletting, we will also check whether the second tenant के साथ जो agreement है वो हम check करेंगे. We will check compliance with AS 19, ठीक है, which is relating to leases. All these points have to be checked in case of leasehold rights. Next question देखो, a significant and important audit activity is to contact banks, financial institutions directly and ask them to confirm the amounts held in current accounts, deposit accounts, EEFC accounts, cash credit accounts, etc. as at the end of the reporting period under audit. Explain the audit procedure in this context. So which audit procedure is this question referring to? SA 505 के हिसाब से external confirmation procedure. So how do we perform this external confirmation procedure, direct confirmation procedure in case of bank balances? All the accounts, rather all the current accounts, cash credit accounts, EEFC accounts should be directly confirmed with the bank, right? Bank को हमें direct confirmation भेजना है and the auditor should maintain strict control over how these are dispatched to the banks. ऑडिटर को अपने लेटर हेड पे जो है कंफर्मेशन लिख के भेजनी पड़ेगी बैंक्स को एंड देन आस्क द कंपनी टू इन्वेस्टिगेट एंड रिकंसाइल इफ देयर आर एनी डिफरेंसेस, एनी सिग्निफिकेंट डिफरेंसेस. इफ देयर आर एनी, in that case reconciliation has to be done. If no reply has been received from the bank, no reply has been received, in that case additional testing should be done by the auditor. ठीक है, आप ledger balance को बैंक स्टेटमेंट से, ऑनलाइन स्टेटमेंट से मैच कराइए या फिर you send a member of the audit team to the branch manager to the bank. फिजिकली आप अपने टीम मेंबर को भेज के कंफर्म कराइए बैलेंस को. सो एडिशनल प्रोसीजर्स में ऑल्सो बी परफॉर्म्ड. नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन देखिए, Rule 3 of Companies Audit and Auditors Rules 2014 prescribe the manner and procedure of selection and appointment of auditors. Explain the procedure in detail. So we have to discuss the manner and procedure of selection and appointment of auditors. If you remember, there were many steps in this. If the company has an audit committee, if the company is required to constitute audit committee as per section 177, then the auditor shall take into consideration the qualification and experience of the auditor of the proposed auditor, which should commensurate to the size and nature of the entity. ठीक है, उसके हिसाब से they recommend a name of the auditor to the board of directors. Then the board of directors will consider that, and after consideration, if they agree to the recommendation of the AC, वो forward कर देंगे recommendation किसको? Recommendation will be forwarded to the members, and then members will finally appoint the auditor in the general meeting. And if the board disagrees with the recommendation of the AC, they will again refer back the recommendation to the AC और उनसे कहेंगे कि आप अपनी recommendation को फिर से review करिए. Now again two cases. If the audit committee reconsiders their recommendation, then again it will be forwarded to the board. But if the audit committee refuses to reconsider their recommendation, in that case the board will send their own recommendation to the members and will attach a note that audit committee had recommended somebody else and they had audit committee had recommended a different person's name as the auditor, and they disagreed to the audit committee ka recommendation, and these are the reasons why they disagreed with the recommendation of the AC. And for companies which are not having any audit committee, in that case जहाँ पे audit committee है ही नहीं, उस केस में who will appoint the auditor, who will recommend the name? The board of directors will consider the qualification and experience of the auditor and will recommend a name to the members, and members in the general meeting will appoint the auditor. And post the auditor's appointment, form number ADT1 has to be filed by the company to the ROC and the auditor, and also in case of government companies to the Comptroller and Auditor General of India within 15 days of the appointment of auditor. So this is all about the Rule 3 of CAR 2014. नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन देखो, एट द AGM ऑफ HDB प्राइवेट लिमिटेड Mr. R was appointed as the statutory auditor. He however resigned after 3 months since he wanted to pursue his career in banking. So auditor resigned within 3 months. Which section? Ma'am, section number 140 subsection 2 and 3. Subsection 2 basically. The board of directors has appointed Mr. L as the statutory auditor in the board meeting within 30 days. So casual vacancy in the office of auditor due to resignation. So section number 139 subsection 8, also section number 140 subsection 2, right? So section 139 subsection 8 के हिसाब से if casual vacancy occurs in the office of auditor, then board of directors have to fill it within 15 days of the date of casual vacancy, and if such vacancy is due to resignation of the auditor, such appointment has to also be approved by the members within 3 months. By convening a general meeting, the members also have to approve the appointment of the new auditor, and the resigning auditor has to file form number ADT3 with the registrar within 30 days of the resignation. This resigning auditor, that is Mr. R, has to file form number ADT3 with the registrar, right? Next question देखें, Messrs. ABC and Company is an audit firm having partners CA, B and C. The firm has been offered the appointment as an auditor of XYZ Limited for the financial year 1920. Mr. D, the relative of CAA, is holding 25,000 shares, face value of rupees 10 each. That means value of investment क्या हो गई, 25,000 into 10, that is 2,50,000 face value के shares hold करता है relative Mr. D, जो कि CAA का relative है. But it is having market value only of rupees 90,000. So are Messrs. ABC and Company qualified to be appointed as auditors? So question is a case study oriented question. Section relating to section 141 subsection 3 का clause D का sub clause 1, जहाँ पे कहा गया है कि person relative partner if they hold security or interest in the company or subsidiary associate holding or subsidiary of such holding company, in that case they are disqualified from being appointed as auditor, provided relative may hold security worth rupees 1 lakh of face value in the company. But face value consider होती है, market value is irrelevant. So यहाँ पे face value is exceeding 1 lakh. In this case ABC and Company is disqualified from being appointed as the auditor. So you divide your answer into facts of the case. First you write what are the facts of the case, फिर आप legal provisions लिखेंगे 141 subsection 3 clause D sub clause 1 के. उसके बाद आप inference लिखेंगे, you will relate the provisions to the case law and to the case study, and then finally conclusion लिखेंगे that they are disqualified from being appointed as the auditor, right? Next question देखें, define emphasis of matter paragraph and how it should be disclosed in the independent auditor's report. So what is emphasis of matter paragraph? As per SA 706, emphasis of matter paragraph is another paragraph which is included in the audit report in order to highlight or emphasize a matter which has been appropriately and adequately disclosed in the financial statements already. कैसे इसको इंक्लूड करना है, तो ये हमने डिफाइन कर दिया EOM को. इसको इंक्लूड कैसे करना है, इट हैज टू बी इंक्लूडेड एज अ सेपरेट सेक्शन इन द ऑडिटर्स रिपोर्ट. इट हैज टू बी इंक्लूडेड एज अ सेपरेट सेक्शन, मे बी आफ्टर की ऑडिट मैटर पैराग्राफ और बिफोर की ऑडिट मैटर पैराग्राफ, एंड द ऑडिटर हैज टू स्टेट the reason for this inclusion of the EOM paragraph, और financial statement का जो भी note relate करता है to this matter उसको हम लोग यहाँ पे refer करेंगे. And also the auditor has to state that the auditor's opinion is not qualified with this respect, कि EOM paragraph में जो भी लिखा है उसके वजह से audit opinion जो है वो modified नहीं है, ये mention करना जरूरी है. नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन देखो, ऑडिटर्स रिपोर्ट शैल इंक्लूड अ सेक्शन डायरेक्टली फॉलोइंग द ओपिनियन सेक्शन विद द हेडिंग बेसिस फॉर ओपिनियन. एक्सप्लेन व्हाट इज टू बी इंक्लूडेड इन द बेसिस फॉर ओपिनियन सेक्शन। तो बेसिस फॉर ओपिनियन सेक्शन में 4 इंपॉर्टेंट चीजें ऑडिटर को इंक्लूड करनी है। दैट द ऑडिटर हैज कंप्लाइड विद ऑल द स्टैंडर्ड्स ऑन ऑडिटिंग, द ऑडिटर हैज टू रेफर टू द सेक्शन ऑफ द ऑडिट रिपोर्ट which talks about the auditor's responsibility. So reference to the section of the auditor's responsibility has to be made in the basis for opinion section itself. Then auditor has to mention in the basis for opinion section that the auditor complied with all the ethical requirements and the code of conduct as prescribed by the institute, and also the auditor has obtained sufficient and appropriate audit evidence on which the auditor's opinion has been based, right? And of course the reason, the basis for your opinion also has to be mentioned. Next question देखो, distinguish between primary and collateral security with reference to audit of banks. Also give examples of most common types of securities accepted by banks. So primary security is the main security, is the principal security which is being given by the borrower to the bank for taking any loan from the bank, right? And principal, it may be a tangible element, it may be intangible asset also, and collateral security is an additional security which is given in addition to the principal security, right? Examples of securities क्या क्या हो सकते हैं, जैसे inventories हो सकती है आपके, और अकाउंट्स रिसीवेबल बैलेंस हो सकते हैं, देन फिक्स्ड डिपॉजिट्स हो सकते हैं, इमूवेबल प्रॉपर्टीज हो सकती है, मूवेबल प्रॉपर्टीज हो सकती है, ज्वेलरी हो सकता है, बुलियन हो सकता है. सो दीज आर एग्जांपल्स ऑफ securities which are commonly accepted by the banks. Next question, depending on the nature of the item concerned, creation of security may take the form of mortgage, pledge, hypothecation, assignment, set off or lien. Explain with specific reference to the audit of banks. So we have to explain mortgage में दो types होते हैं, registered, equitable होता है. Pledge के अंदर क्या होता है? Pledge के अंदर the possession of the goods remains with the borrower only. The borrower is keeping those security in the name of the, as सिक्योरिटी ऑफ द बैंक ओनली, ही इज कीपिंग इट विथ हिमसेल्फ. वहाँ पे कोई पोजेशन ट्रांसफर नहीं होती. हाइपोथिकेशन में ना ही पोजेशन ना ही ओनरशिप, कुछ भी ट्रांसफर नहीं होता है. असाइनमेंट के अंदर सम अकाउंट बैलेंसेस का या कुछ मॉनेटरी असेट का जो असाइनमेंट है, रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी ऑफ कलेक्शन और द amount that will be collected is assigned to the bank. And set off के अंदर the bank has the right to set off the क्रेडिट एंड डेबिट बैलेंस ऑफ सेम अकाउंट होल्डर का. सेम अकाउंट होल्डर का अगर क्रेडिट बैलेंस है, डेबिट बैलेंस भी है बैंक के अंदर, मतलब अकाउंट डिपॉजिट अकाउंट भी है एंड लोन अकाउंट भी है, इट कैन बी सेट ऑफ. And lien is when you are exercising lien on some asset by way of authority. We are exercising lien, we are seizing some particular asset, उसको हम कहते हैं lien. So इस तरह से आपको explain करना होगा सारे ways of security को, ways of how security can be taken. Next question, audit against rules and orders aim to ensure that the expenditure conforms to the relevant provision of the constitution and of the laws and rules made thereunder. The job of audit is to see that these rules, regulations and orders are applied properly by the subordinate authority. It is however not the function of audit to prescribe what such rules and orders shall be, analyze and explain. So in case of government audit against rules and orders is done. That is, all the expenditure shall conform to the provisions of the laws and regulations. इसके अंदर ऑडिटर को चेक करना होता है कि सारे जो laws and regulations है वो कंप्लाई होने चाहिए. जो भी expenses है, it should be made as per the laws and regulations. Especially the amount has to be sanctioned expenditure from the consolidated fund or the contingency fund of India, and the rules and orders dealing with how to present claims or how to take grants from the government, uska mode of presentation kya hoga, then how to disburse salary and wages to the government servants. So all these are to be covered under audit against rules and orders. Next question dekhte hain. This is the last question of the RTP discussion. Again related to audit of different types of entities. Auditor of a government company, rather government audit से ही related है. So आपके examination के लिए ना government audit, cooperative societies, multi-state cooperative societies, LLP की audit, ये सारा चीज़ ज़्यादा important हो जाता है government audit, because these are new introductions in the new syllabus, right? So auditor of a government company has to ensure that each item of expenditure is covered by a sanction, either general or special, by a competent authority. Explain. So yes, audit of sanctions के अंदर auditor has to check that all the expenditures which are made are being sanctioned by a general or a special sanction which is accorded by a competent authority, and the amount of sanction should not be above the amount which is allowed by the respective law or regulation. So this has to be checked by the auditor, right? So this brings us to the end of the discussion of RTP November 2020. In case you have any doubts relating to this, you can post in the comment section below. And if you like this video, do hit the like button and share it with all your friends जिसको आपको लगता है इस वीडियो से help हो सकती है. So that's all with this video. It is for new syllabus CA Intermediate Auditing and Assurance RTP discussion. Thank you so much everyone for watching. Hope to see you soon in my next video. Thank you so much. Stay blessed and all the best for your examinations.